Hello and welcome to today's video. Now, as you know, this weekend I'm away filming at the London MCM ComicCon, so I've not quite had time to do a brand new cleaning video for you this week. So what I thought I'd do, last month on my main channel I had a mega haul of brand new vintage paperbacks which I needed to clean up and get looking as good as possible, and it was an absolutely epic video. So what I've done, I've edited that one, I've taken out all the new book content, and you've got a 3-hour bonanza to enjoy today, just in case you didn't see that one on my other channel. So without further ado, sit back, relax, and let's get to it. Right then, so we're starting off with these, which are these little phrase books, and I picked some of these up at my recent trip to Morris's, and he'd had a big run of Penguin books come in, a big collection from a long time collector, and I was able to get pretty much first pick of it all. And I've been trying to collect these phrase books. There's 13 in all, and I'd love to have them all in first edition. And the way you can generally tell the first or early editions is that the name of the language is in a specific font, which is appropriate to the actual language in question. And they're all different colours as well. And I've got some already, but I didn't want to leave these behind because they might be upgrades to what I've got already. And I've been buying off Morris for well, decades really, since the 90s, and he always gives a very good price, and he's such a nice guy. So if you've not seen my little recent book buying trip to Morris's, which is All You Need Is Books, which is the website, you can't go there, unfortunately. Morris let me because, as I said, I've known him a long time, and I generally film my visits for the channel for him. But if you do see something on his website that you want, just send an email. His two sons are both actively involved doing the mail order side of things nowadays, and just go to the All You Need Is Books website, and everything that's available will be on there. And there are certainly lots of Penguin and Pans and things like that, as well as loads and loads of other publishers. So there's plenty to sink your teeth into. He's currently still sorting all this Penguin stock, so I think that's one of the reasons why he invited me along, so I could help clear the decks a bit, because I bought quite a bit today. There wasn't loads of like main series titles and rare crime or anything like that at all. It was I would call it minor series, so sort of Pelicans, Penguin New Writing, specials, reference books, Penguin classics, that sort of thing. So that's fine with me, because I collect everything sort of 19 or pre-ISBN Penguin is what I'm into, and a little bit afterwards. So that's a really nice one. So there was lots for me to see, of course, but there may not be that much for the actual book collector per se. But that's a nice one. I've got Germany here, which I don't think I've ever seen in the flesh before. It's interesting. It's got a little rates of exchange after devaluation, 1967. How interesting. It's got a nice little insert. Book's a bit beaten up, but with these, as long as they're all there, I don't really mind. And this one does seem just about complete, if a little worn. Now, because we've got so much to do today, and we really have, I'm going to sort of do some of it as we go along. It's just going to be just to sort of get those bits done, because we really do have lots to do today. I did think about splitting this up into a couple of videos, but I've got such a busy schedule with new videos planned and other stuff coming up on the channel. I would end up getting a bit behind, and we don't want that to happen, do we? Sadly, on my recent trip to Morris's, and my friend Bob, the Dorset Bob, the science fiction specialist dealer, my friend Steve, the Outlaw Bookseller, couldn't come along with me because sadly he caught COVID, but he's A1 now, and we're looking to go up again in just a couple of weeks' time, so that's cool. So you can see here that those are numbered, and those are just like a year or two afterwards at ISBN. So the whole run of the original 13 came out over the course of about 2.5 years. So there we are. Now there, I said I did get some handbooks, and I got some reference books as well. This is one of the reference ones. I got nice wedges of science fiction to go through as well, and just some general older paperbacks. I've had some cool viewer donations as well, which is excellent. Or rather, one big viewer donation, so I shall show you that in a moment. And we've even got an odd comic as well, so you're going to see it all today, plus numerous new books that have come my way for review on the channel. So I like to do a little recap of everything that's come in recently. Most of them will have their own dedicated review in time, or it's already been reviewed, so there's just another chance in case you might have missed the original video. Another chance you'd actually see what's recently been published, because I like books about books and sort of the history of books and magazines. That's one of my real specialties. I love reading about the publishers and things like that. So there has been a couple this month, or the last sort of 2 months really, for us to get stuck into. I have also been to a couple of shows. I've done the Matford show. I recently did the Plymouth DevCon convention, which was cool. You may have seen, I haven't actually brought it with me today because the book is as clean as I can get it. I picked up the Penguin book called Artifacts Intervenes. Now, what that one was a another wartime crime, which meant that I was just too short to complete the first 1,000 penguins in first edition. So I still need 2 books, but one of the ones I need is this, which is Speedy Death. But this is the reprint of it, and because Morris had a copy, I've seen the reprint go from between £3 and £30 for this like reprint copy of it. This is I believe, is it 1946? It might even be slightly later than that, but it's 1946. That was the first printing in May. There was an even scarcer reprint in October, and this is the 46 one. This one is the one that you tend to find, and as I said, I've seen dealers charging up to £30 for this one, which is insane. So I got this one off Morris for just a few pounds. It was like £3. He said it was in a bit of a state, but I said I don't mind, because it's just going to be a placeholder now until the actual first edition of Speedy Death turns up. I have seen sort of in the last 12 months probably 3 copies turn up, a couple online, one online which was hammered. I've seen one on a Penguin dealers list where it was sealed bids and didn't bid enough, and there's no way to do a counter bid, and another one where its name's out of a hat, so my name wasn't picked out early enough, so I didn't get it then either. So basically, there's 3 copies of this book out there. So eventually one is going to turn up, and I'll be able to grab, probably really cheap, and I'll be like really smiling. But until that does, this is going to do for the time being. Got a mark inside, a name inside. Now the other book I'm after is called Death on the Borough Council, which is another crime one. That's the other one of the 2 I need. And one of those turned up on eBay recently. It's the first one I've seen on eBay in ages. Like a few years, I think. And one of my viewers alerted me to it. I had a saved search, so it turned up in my emails the next day to say that one had turned up on the eBay platform. And it went for $365 with a detached front and back cover, which is absolutely insane. So whoever's paid that, I know the book is rare, but it ain't that rare. So, well, good luck to them. Obviously, perhaps slightly more money than sense there, but it is rare. Don't get me wrong. It may be a year until another one turns up on the open market, but $365 for a book in that condition didn't seem that great to me. That's rather nice, isn't it? So I'm collecting American editions of Harry Harrison at the moment, and he is an author I read a bit on holiday, and really am enjoying him. I read some as a kid, as a teenager, and liked them. Used to be very much into the stainless steel wrap, but of course that's only one tiny bit of what he actually wrote. Had huge output. So I'm trying to pick up the American ones, and he's not expensive to collect at all, so that's really cool. The other thing I've been on a bit of a kick on is British, and some American SF anthologies. I absolutely love them, and here's a few here that we can have a look at. I'm going to put these books in 2 piles because some of these can be polished, like this one, but this old penguin, it can't, so I don't want to get any polish near that at all. The phrase books can all be polished actually, so that's good. So I'm going to start a couple of piles, and we'll sort of do these as we go along, and the stuff that I can actually polish I will do as we go through it. Some of this is a bit dusty, so like, one of the things Morris has got going is he's got a £1 like book barn, as it were, and it's a little like sub home where he's knocking out like his lower grade stuff, a bit like this, books that have got faults, for just £1 a pop. And I thought this is too good to leave behind for £1, so I picked it up. Now it has got this bit of the bottom of the spine coming off, so I'm going to pop a little bit of glue in there. And hopefully that'll just be enough to, need a bit more than that, to keep that bottom of the spine in place. It's an old pyramid, but you know, for £1, it's just too good to leave behind, really. I know I shouldn't, because space is at a bit of a premium, but I'm trying to have a bit of a clear out and a slight change around of the collection a little bit. It looks as if the Star Wars toys will be going towards the end of November, as a dealer who's going to be coming down to have a look then, and you know, it looks like he's going to have them. So when that happens, that will create a lot more room, of course, where I store my books. But long term, the wife and I are thinking now we might move house to somewhere slightly different and try and buy somewhere a bit more purpose built, as it were, where we've got room to build a library downstairs. So there's, you know, because it's going to be floor to ceiling with an island in between. That is the plan. There we are. That'll do. It's not great, but it's going to be absolutely fine to read, that one. I'll just give it a brush and a polish in a minute. So yeah, that's the plan. So we're hoping to move house. This is a real nice one. More Adventures in Time and Space. There is an original. I think there might even be a 3rd volume of it. This was a series of American hardback anthologies. Sometimes when these anthologies are put into paperback, they drop a story or 2 occasionally, but I'm willing to live with that because I got so many already. There's bound to be a bit of like crossover, really, you know, so I'm not ultimately too worried. But what a nice book that is, isn't it? So I'll give that a nice polish in a minute. This is another one here, so this is great. This is probably one which my friend Steve would like, because it's the best of Harry Harrison, but with an introduction by Barry Malzberg, an author he really likes. And this was a first printing as well. Yeah, pocketbook, 1976. Now another penguin handbook. So you're going to see a real mixture of stuff today. Some of these handbooks I picked up, you know, I mean, you don't really see them on dealers' catalogues very often. The earlier ones I particularly like because they tend to have almost like bespoke covers. Well, they are bespoke, obviously, for each book, but they're just more arty than these later ones, where they tend to just think they can get away with a little montage of photographs, which is what they've done there, or even worse, they tend to do something like this, which these are these are the ones I don't really like, where it's just a single photograph, but they are in effect quite scarce, and I wouldn't say they were mega collectible in a million years, but they are collected, and I certainly like the Penguin handbooks. This one's got a little bit of something there, so let me just get that off, a bit of the binding off with its head. That wasn't a very good job. There we are. Let's got it. Rock Gardens. If only, eh? All right. So yeah, so there will be a few Penguin handbooks and things like that in the older books today, but there'll also be a real mixture of some science fiction, loads of compact SF as well. I picked up quite a bit off Dorset Bob, including a nice run of the paperback versions of New Worlds, which is one that I really, really like. I'd love to collect all of New Worlds, but there's just so many scarce, well, not so many scarce, but there are some scarce ones. The magazine format ones are rare. The very earliest, like 3 or 4, are rare. And the very final issue is super scarce. And they're such a variety of formats as well. It's really bizarre. So there you go. Oh, another one of those handbooks. But the paperback ones, I think I'm more than happy to collect those, and they're easy to store as well. So it's got quite a bit inside here. But that's alright, that's why we're going through these book by book. And I'm imagining, because we're not very far into this already, and it's already a quarter of an hour, we have got a long video today. Even before we've started, I reckon it could hit 3 hours with the amount of stuff that we've got to go through. Maybe a bit less, I don't know, we'll see, but it's going to be quite a long one, I think. But I know you don't mind. Get yourself a cup of tea or a coffee and relax. That's what it's all about here, you know. Sit back, relax. That's what we like. Actually, I'm not sure if I've even cleaned this one, so let's just make sure they're both spick and span. Yeah, okay. So this next one here is another vintage Penguin. It's a wartime one, Cruise of the Cachalot. I couldn't really remember how good mine was, but it's from that sort of scarce wartime period, so I didn't really want to leave this behind because it was cheap, you know, just like £1 or so. So I suspect this is better than the one I've got. And the thing with these wartime ones, the pinkness of the spine fades if it's got any sort of sunlight on it, so that is why I've grabbed it. So it's got a date here, 6th of April 44. That's it, right in the middle, or right towards the end of the Second World War, but Britain was still suffering. So it's printed under wartime paper rationing conditions. The pages are very, very thin. The print one of the first edition was never that high, and consequently today these are the sort of books that are actually the scarcest of all Penguins. Simple as that. And that is a really nice copy. Look at that, 1944. So I'm very pleased with that one. I'm certain it's an upgrade to what I've got, but that is in the non-polishing pile. So another odd, this was a reference one rather than a handbook, but I because it's so distinctive, I knew it was one that I didn't have. Look at that, 10 shillings, it's 50p when this is published, but it looks like it's been hardly read. Book of World Events. Reference number 17. 1960. That'll be okay to polish, I think. It's got something on the back there. Yeah, but it's amazing. Some of these books I just never seen. Pleased to get this one. This is one of the games covers. So I picked up I would say a hoard of games covers. And there's more I've got left to pick up a little bit later in the month. I'm going to go through all the ones that I've got myself, so I've got the best possible copies that I can find. But I have got a couple of collectors who I've promised my spares to. So, but I will. Basically, I'll get them all because they're highly prized by collectors, these games covers, I think. And you know, you sometimes see them at really stupid prices, and they shouldn't be mega money, but I think, you know, they do have a value, let's put it that way, you know, but not some of the, like, I've seen some at £15. Surely they're not selling at that price, you know. That's just crazy for books that are like mid-50s, you know. It just doesn't seem like they should be selling for that much, but you never know. Anyway, I picked up plenty because I know some of my own ones are very much on the rough side, shall we say. So here we are, little tempance on here. And these little handbooks, these were the sort of books that you would pick up for like 10p just because it's Penguin, you know. And I don't, even when you see them on dealers' catalogues, they're only ever a couple of quid. You know what I mean? They're never expensive. I've got them slightly less than that from Morris, but because I bought so many. But they're not mega money, but a couple of them are particularly, they just got really gorgeous covers in that, like the first aid one and the early cookery ones are really nice. So this one has got a sticker inside, on the inside, so I'm hoping it's going to behave itself. Bit of an unusual place to find a sticker, isn't it? 25p. Leave it to cook. Yeah, it's going to leave a little mark, but it's better than the sticker, I would say. In my humble opinion, there we are. The slow cooking method, well, great way to cook. Wouldn't it be interesting if someone could do one of those like pastiche covers and they could do the Penguin handbook to the Ninja air fryer? Be good, wouldn't it? Right. This is one I know I need to upgrade. So once again, I was particularly pleased to find this because the copy I've got, I know, is in quite a shape. It's actually a Zane Grey, and I've actually read a couple of these, Zane Greys that is, and they were pretty good. So I'm going to keep my my other one and give it a read, I think. Since this is an upgrade, I'll have a spare of it. Unless one of my friends really wants the game's cover that I've got for this one. Even this isn't perfect, but it's an upgrade to what I've got, which is all that matters. Here's another handbook here. He and she. Look at this. Oh dear. Book on relationships by the look of it. Keep this book. Okay. Keep this book, Myra. It's come away a little bit at the top of the spine there. So what I'm going to do is slide some glue in there, some Pritt stick. That blob should really do it, I would think, pretty much. Maybe another little blob at the top. A little bit at the bottom of the spine as well. Yeah, I'm just going to slide a bit in there as well. That'll do. It's the sort of thing you just don't come across very often anymore. These are already 50/60 years old, these handbooks, and apart from the really like instructional ones, like say how to play chess, for example, and things like that, these other ones, you know, they're so out of date. I remember there's one I've got in my collection now. Now it's called the Adolescent Child or something like that. I mean, what they're probably advising you to do in that is probably not, you know, the way it's thought of today. So you know, you can tell. I must make sure when I polish some of these that the certain marks in there are given a good rub. Oh, this is nice. So I picked up a few dolls. There was a few in Morris's £1 bookshop, so I was delighted because I've got quite a list of dolls that I'd still need. I'm trying to pick up the first sort of between 500 and 600 dolls, of which I've got about 2/3, maybe even slightly more. The ones with the classic yellow spines, which I think are just the business. And I'll I've got a few which are reprint, but not many. But most of mine are first editions like that, because it's got the number 1 at the bottom. That's the way to determine it's a first printing, basically. This is another one from Morris's pound section, and some of them, they're in the pound section in his shop because he's just got extra copies of them. But this was a pretty decent condition science fiction ace double. Not the best of authors or anything like that. It was a distributed one. Look, it's got a TP, Thorpe and Porter, with the TP, the Indians TP as their logo. But it's quite a nice one, and at a pound I'm not going to complain. This was another one which is in the pound section at Morris's. I just picked it up because I thought, well, how bad can it really be? So obviously it's not going to be the quality of my friend Steve's science fiction book, but who's who in science fiction? Probably not a bad little read, this one. And I've got a similar book from my friend Bob, which he's given me a hardback, which I shall show you in a minute. It's got a couple of bits of writing in, but this was bought for the content, not for like the collectability or even for the jacket, which is quite plain. It was bought for the content, that one. Here's another anthology, The Astounding Analog Reader, edited by Harry Harrison and Brian W. Aldis. And in a lot of cases, some of these, the American editions, are actually a bit more attractive than the British. But I don't mind the British ones. It's all about the content. And this one has got, well, basically, that's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, you could say, novellas, couldn't you, in that one? I suppose the most famous is Nightfall by Isaac Asimov. And all quite early, the early years, the astounding from the 30s and 40s, you could say the golden age of science fiction, which I read a lot of as a kid, but haven't read a lot of recently, because some of it I do find a little bit clunky. But anyway, Thomas Burnett Swan, Day of the Minotaur, that's a nice jacket, isn't it? This is a Mayflower. So again, this was from Morris's £1 bookshop, so I didn't want to turn this one down. Can't really see anything wrong condition wise on that one. He must have just had some duplicates of it. I was pleased to get this. This ticks 2 boxes for me, really, because it's Philip Jose Farmer, who I am collecting, and it's also a door that I didn't have. So in that first 500 door, I think there's 6 Philip Jose Farmers, including the really nice The Book of Philip Jose Farmer, which I really recommend. That's fantastic, that one. But this is all right. I didn't actually check to see if it was a first. It is March 76. Got a little signature there next to it, but that'd be absolutely fine for me. It's got a little bit of tanning in that, but I'll give it a polish. I think it'll be all right. This one I definitely have got, but I don't think I've got one in this nice condition. So when I bought this, it was really like curled up from Morris's £1 shop again, but it's got a few little marks on the front cover, which I suspect we'll be able to get those out. Exchange your books outside the Exmouth Arms in the Exmouth Market. There we are. So that's an outdoor market copy. Cool. You can even see some of the dust flying off this one. Look at that, 1957. What a great jacket that is. Gordon, and he did a few of the pan science fiction, and they've got this incredible sense of perspective, you know. That's what these have really got, and I'm certain that is a better copy than the one I've got. So I will have a spare of that if someone wants it on my next sort of sales video. And in actual fact, from my friend Bob, he's given me a whole load of really nice pan and badger stock to offer to you guys, so look out for that sales video quite soon. This is another little anthology, just needs a bit of a clean. 13 great tales of science fiction. It's got a John Wyndham there, Arthur C. Clarke, Damon Knight for the Sturgeon. Some good stuff there, actually. This is a Coronet. Trying to see when it was published. 1960. Coronet Books edition 1967. So this was a Fawcett Gold Medal before it was a coronet, an early coronet. Let's start a third pile, because these are all going to be brushed and polished in a minute. Now this is one I was pleased to get another copy of, because it's another one that's It's quite tough to find this in nice condition. I think this is one of the harder ones. It's got an actual signed Abraham Games jacket on this one, and apart from this tiny little nick on the back, I think it appears to be a really nice copy of this. Yeah, and it's the first Penguin. Look at that. A little £1.50 inside. So yeah, apart from that little nick, I can't really complain at that, I don't think. Another nice games. Give that a brush in a minute. Another nice games upgrade there, so that's cool. I've got some more here. Let's pull this pile over. So this one is once again another upgrade to the one that I've got. It's got a bit of tape on the front, and it's funny, the one I've got is not in the greatest of shape. It's quite a thick book. It's not the first printing by Penguin, it's a reprint with this jacket on. So anyway, this is definitely still, believe it or not, better than the one that I've got. So I'm going to do the best I can to clean this and get it as good as possible. A few bent over corners. Now this has got tape along there, and if I take that off, it's just gonna ruin the book. However, it has got on the back here part of the bottom of the spine coming away, so that I do want to address. So I'm going to get some Pritt stick in there. There we are. That's lovely. That is as good as I'm going to be able to get it. I'll give it a brush and I'm going to give it a polish, but that is still amazingly better than the one I've got. Alright, so here's a book that some people will enjoy. The Penguin Salad Book. Interesting cover there. The Art of Salad Making. See, these I think are going to clean up really, really nicely once we get the old Mr. Sheen on them. But first we'll check inside. Give that a 50p out. Like so. And this one's also got a sticker on the inside cover. I can't believe where this sticker is. The little 34. What does it mean? 34, we don't know. Teasing it off. There we are. The salad book is good again. I'll wager there's no other channel in existence, particularly on YouTube, but in existence where you're going to find cookery books shoulder to shoulder with classic science fiction. It just ain't going to happen, is it? That is a lovely one, that. Once again, a few little marks on it which should clean up all right. Another one, look, any wife or any husband. Sexual problems in married life. Wow. It's funny, you thought I mean, it's released as a handbook, but this is sort of crossover with a Pelican, really, wouldn't it? 20p. Doesn't quite get it all off. Rub. God damn you, rub. There we are. This is an American one, a Bernard Shaw. I picked up a couple. This one isn't too bad condition. I don't have many American penguins. I got a few, but not loads, you know. Yeah, first penguin of the screen adaptation. That's all right. A book of French wines. Well, I have to say, French wines are my favourite wines, particularly the soft reds and the Merlots, with a nice plate of pasta. Now you are talking. Very, very nice. And that is a nice copy of that one. That's all right, that. And then there's quite a lot of poetry at Morris's, and once again I shall, next time I go up, I'll have my list completely updated, so I'll be able to get it. This one I couldn't leave behind. What a great jacket. And the Penguin poetry is actually synonymous with having fantastic jackets. They're just really, really great. This one's going to take a little bit of sorting out because it's a bit wobbled, but ultimately it's a nice copy. And I have got all the early sort of Penguin poetry with the like more generic tri-band covers. I've got all of those, but the later ones, sort of the mid-period, all had these fantastic like M papers as the covers. And then the Penguin modern poets had some very interesting covers again. So there's three sort of very distinct styles with Penguin poetry, and I quite like them all, even though I'm not a massive poetry fan. I don't mind collecting them, shall we say. Now, this was interesting. This is almost like a library edition. It's one that was produced with a Hessian cover to make it more hard-wearing, really. And usually they're from schools, so that the property of the Nautical College in Pangbourne. So these generally were sent to libraries and or colleges. Some were sent overseas. This is just one of about 200 that were published in this particular format. I don't know why they stopped, but you don't really see them very often. I don't think I've got any others in my collection, I don't think, but it's the sort of thing, because they're scarce, I don't really want to not pick them up nowadays, so that's what it is. It's got a couple of little frays on the front jacket, which I'm going to try and dig off, because it's got this sort of almost like a Hessian cover to it. There's one bit, one on the back here as well. There we are, and a bit on the spine, which actually just came off in my hand. So the first 18 volumes in the Penguin Shakespeare. So there we are. So quite an unusual one, and I'd say there's quite a few in this. Well, 200, I believe, 200 books in this series. So worth keeping your eyes out for that. That won't be polished, so that is either on a separate pile. The same for this one. So although it's really dusty, so. It's the Penguin New Writing. It's the first volumes. It's the main series, number 305. It's going to need some glue in there in a minute, but it's really dusty. This is also the first time that Penguin Books printed George Orwell. This is the first appearance of George Orwell in Penguin, outright, full stop, which was for this one, which is the opening story, Shooting an Elephant by George Orwell. What an amazing short story that is. And if you're at all interested, I actually did a narration of that particular one, which I've had lots of teachers and students contact me and said they've told their students to listen to my reading of Shooting an Elephant, because it's really good. So that was quite nice praise, wasn't it? This one's actually, look, it's almost There we are. In actual fact, that's going to be much easier to do. So it's just, there we are. The glue on these is just falling to bits. It is, after all, quite old. So let's just... Ironically, Penguin New Writing Volume 2 is also numbered number 305. There was a little mistake, and they made an error. So if you ever look for Penguin 305, in the first 1,000 penguins, there's actually 1,001, because there's 2 copies of number 305, which is Penguin New Writing 1 and 2. Anyway, let's run some glue along there. This is a massive improvement over my current copy, which I've had for years. It was one I found in the wild, and I never have upgraded it. I'll put a little bit along here as well. And that should be more than enough to keep this in place. So there we are, George Orwell's first appearance in Penguin. You saw it here, and it's not an expensive book. One in that shape, because that is unusually nice for the first Penguin New Writing. I would be tempted to put like £4 to £5 on that, you know. But the rest of the series, even the Wartime ones, are only about £3 each. It's a cheap series to collect, you know. Anyway, very interesting though, very interesting. I've done a whole video on the series, which I shall pop a link up to right now for you. Another little anthology. This was a horror anthology. Is it? Yeah, I think it's a horror one. Six and the Silent Scream. Oh no, it's science fiction. Vulcan's Hammer, Philip K. Dick. I think, yeah, let's look at it inside here. Vulcan's Hammer, so that's cool. Riddle of the Deadly Paradise, Farfield, Peace on Earth, a Robert Sheckley, Ask a Foolish Question, D.A. Jordan, okay. 1968. A console. Not a publisher you might think of for science fiction in actual fact, but an interesting cover. It looks more like a horror anthology to me. Bit of a worn old copy this, but sort of too good to leave behind really, particularly since it's got a Philip K. Dick in there. So the best of sci-fi. Well, we prefer the term SF around these here parts nowadays, but it's still used quite a bit, isn't it? The expression, even today. Not a lot we can do with that. That's absolutely fine. Just needs a bit of a polish and a brush, and we can do that. There we are. Just a bit of the cover needs folding back. There we are. Yes. This one I've picked up simply to read. Copies of Jaws, even just reprints, which is what this is, just seem to be going for stupid money online, and I only wanted a copy to read, and I thought, well, I'm bound to come across one. It was such a big seller in a charity shop or something, and I just haven't. So consequently, Morris had one in his £1 shop, so I grabbed that. But it has got a bit of a torn spine. But I remember reading this as a kid, or around the time the movie was big, sort of 77, 78. There was a bit of a Jaws phenomenon. It went on for years. And I know Jaws itself was more 75, but I absolutely loved it. Absolutely loved it. So, yeah, it's got a little bit of, as I recall, top of the spine, is it? Yeah, it's in there. So, I actually have a bit of glue on the end here. So I'm just going to slide that in there. And hopefully that'll be all it needs to put Jaws where it belongs. There we are, that'll do. As I said, I just want a copy to read. That's all I wanted it for. So Why was it so difficult for me to find a copy? Right, another little pile here. So the year's best science fiction. Another one edited by Harry Harrison and Brian Aldiss. They seem to have done so many of these. And obviously there's going to be some crossover, but I don't mind. Okay, this is the 1970 reprint, so it's not the first, so it is a reprint, but some good stuff in there. And a new Harry Harrison introduction and an afterword by Brian Aldiss. A couple more of these Penguin handbooks. What was that inside? Nothing at all, so I'm using that as a bookmark. I like to get rid of the foreign bodies. Oh, look at this, look. That's another one where the spines just come away. So I'm going to try and tactically get some glue in there. That'll be okay. Need my book on Delilah's, don't I? Oh, sorry, Dahlias, not Delilah's. Apart from that, that's a stonking copy of that one. Very, very nice. Nice glossy cover. That will come up very nice. They're not all glossy, but some of them have different levels of glossiness. Roses. Now, is that pencil or pen? It looks like it's pencil. Huzzah! Lovely. Lawns. £10p, look at that. Couple of pages turned over, which just cannot stand. So it got a bit concertinaed at some point. There we go. Just what we need, eh? Book on lawns. Well, here's a classic. It Can't Be Denied, Animal Farm. Penguin 838, another nice Orwell. We like him. First printed 1951. Now, I suspect, yes, it's that period where they just weren't that great. The glue, after 70 years, if the book's been stored in a hot environment, it's just ended up drying out a little bit. Now the back cover is actually quite well attached, so I've just folded it back. I get a nice generous glob of glue in there, and we shall pop this back to its former glory. Old George would be proud, I'm sure, because he's a good egg. There we are. And I suspect that's actually slightly better than my own, unless I'm thinking of 1984, which is slightly lower grade than I was hoping. But all Orwell in Penguin is good, and I'll just see which one is the better, keep it for myself, and I will have a spare Animal Farm in my next sales video. This is more in keeping with the Penguin handbooks that I like. It's a little bit earlier, but it's got its own sort of illustrated jacket rather than a photograph, and these are the ones that I particularly like. The very, very best ones actually have the Penguin slightly modified the penguin logo, so to tie in with the book in question, which is even better. Like the Penguin Book of Chess, I think, has got the penguin logo looking like a chess piece, for example. There we are. This is the revised edition, published as a Penguin Handbook in 1961. The spare time book. Well, this is what I'm doing in my spare time. I'm filming videos for you guys, but it's all good. This is my hobby, and I love doing it. I love it. Lovely, that's really nice. The Art of the Middle Game. I like Penguin's chess books, and I don't mind playing chess at all. Mainly on chess.com. That's sort of the app that you can download. It's got a website as well. You can play classic games. That's a bit brittle there. You can play classic games on chess.com, and they're the ones I like. That's actually come away ever so slightly there. It's okay. We're all right. And yeah, chess is not bad at all. When my son was growing up, he used to like playing it. The Art of the Middle Game. Right, that's all the ones of the smaller size. So out of this particular lot, so I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to give all them a brush, first of all. And I'm going to give them a polish while we're at it, I think. So these are the ones, the little pile of penguins that cannot be polished, of course, because they're paper covers in effect. And we don't want to, we just don't want to get any sort of liquid or fluid near them at all. That's the brushing done on those. Okay, quite nice. Now we need to just do these, and we'll give them a brush first, then we'll do the polish. So we've got 3 stacks to brush. Right, that's the first pile done, brushed anyway. You just wouldn't believe the dust it makes, you know, on some of these. It can be quite a mucky process, you know. Lovely, and these have all been done already. Okay. Right, that's all the brushing done. Okay then, so I've got my Mr. Sheen, my polish of choice for when I'm doing old paperbacks, and I usually give it a bit of a straight on squirt like that, first of all. And then we'll just get cleaning. Now some of these, of course, are going to need quite a bit more than others. And others, it won't actually make that much difference. But on the whole, if the book's got a glossy cover, I think it's probably worth doing. And in a lot of cases, it's not obvious dirt that you're lifting up, but when you actually, I've just done 3 books here, and I think that up close they all look an improvement over what they were. And look at the dirt we've got up off 3 books. So it just shows there is dirt there. sometimes you just have to rub it out and get to it really, you know, which is what we're doing. Yeah, I think out of the handbooks we've seen so far today, and I should say we've still got some new books, we've got viewer donations, and I've got about this many books again to come, so this is going to be a long old video. I think so far this is the best looking handbook we've come across. These picture covered ones I'm not such a fan of, but they're part of the Penguin story, so they have to be included. It is the law, after all. So I'll slowly work my way down to a cleaner bit on the cloth as we work our way through the books, the many piles of books. There we are. These come out really nice once they've had the first clean of their sometimes 60-year lives. Pretty nice that. Soups and hors d'oeuvres. Oh, here it is, the salad book. Stand by your beds. There we are.
Nice US one here, which I haven't got. I said I've not made a point of collecting the American ones really, but they're quite nice when you come across them, you know. See, this has got a 20p sticker on the back. I completely missed that. During quality control, we repaired the spine, didn't we? But we didn't have a stab at this sticker. I said I bought this one literally to read rather than like put in the collection per se. I have got a Jaws book which is called the Jaws Log, which is the making of Jaws, the movie, which is pretty cool. This is just the original novel. In slightly worn but readable condition. What does the blurb say on the back? Pick up Jaws before midnight, read the first 5 pages, and I guarantee you'll be putting it down breathless and stunned. The final climax is even better than the beginning, as dawn is breaking the next day. And that's a high praise. It was a very, very successful novel. Was Jaws in its day. Very successful indeed. Yeah, very pleased to get this one. Nice upgrade. I believe it's an upgrade to the one that I've got. Pretty certain it is. Got lovely white pages on it.
Very nice indeed. There we are, that's that pile done. Let's do these phrase books. Here we are. It's all Greek to me. This one's particularly grubby, to be honest. I think still an improvement. In fact, I don't know. I don't think I've got the Spanish one at all. I can't remember now. But also a bit of a tatty one, this Germany. But it's so unusual to actually come across them in the wild that I didn't want to leave them behind, really. And this one I haven't got in any condition, so definitely had to pick this up. pleased with this one. This is a real nice copy of this one compared to most out there. Couple of little marks on the cover there. I'm just going to put them on and leave that there for a minute. So it's still left a couple of little marks, but they're not too bad. Not too bad at all, to be honest. Still a very, very nice copy, and that'll flatten out lovely. So yeah, not too bad. Right, okay. The last pile of this, of about half, we're about halfway through once this is done, believe it or not. So we're not doing too badly. Just one more stack to polish. And then I think after this we'll do some of the more recent books that I've picked up, plus some sort of large format stuff that's come my way. But we'll just do this last stack. Look at the cloth, look at the dirt we picked up off it. Absolutely incredible. But this is such a long video, I'm going to film it over 2 days. So I'm doing this on a Thursday. I'm working tomorrow, so I'll finish it off on Saturday, because it's just such an epic. As you can see, it's really, it's not a month's worth of pickups, it's more 2 months worth, you know. So that's why it's such a long video this time round. But I know you don't mind, and these videos are always very, very popular. People love seeing what I've picked up and the process I go through when I clean my books. So I hope you don't mind the extra length, and actually it's considered a bonus. These handbooks on the whole have got quite glossy covers, which does make them easier to clean. Which is good. Trying to find a clean slice of cloth for this one. So what we've done already sometimes would have constituted enough for an entire monthly pickups video, but we're not even halfway. We've got what I'll do when we start the camera's rolling next will be the viewer donations, which is only one lot, but it's a particularly good lot, and also the latest books that I've received in the post, and review copies and books that I've bought myself that I've been enjoying. So we'll go through those, and then we'll do the second half of all the vintage pickups, of which there's just basically more of the same. More Penguin, loads more science fiction, and that really big run of New Worlds science fiction. So do stay tuned, and if you're not into the cleaning part of it, just zoom ahead in the video to that bit, and you can enjoy that. It smells a bit smoky, this one. Cool, right. So I shall take a break from here and go and do a bit of editing instead of actual cleaning. And it'll be the blink of an eye to yourselves, but to me it'll be 2 days later when I next tackle the final batch of these. Come across them. Now a couple more just old books that I picked up recently. This is one I got off eBay. It's a particularly scarce Pan book, Memoirs of a Tattooist. It's by this chap called George Burkett, and George Burkett was historically a very famous tattooist, and Pan did one and only printing of this book, and it is, copies generally go, I've seen them sell for over 100, particularly nice ones. The only fault with this one, it's only the one print, 1960. The only fault with this one, it's got that little 5p on the front there, but apart from that, it's a nice square one. It's got a really nice spine on it, and I got mine, I think I paid about 45 for that, so more than I've paid for a Pan in a long time. I can tell you, probably, you know, in a couple of decades I haven't paid that much for a Pan, but it was one that I really wanted. It's a great Pan, it's a lovely cover, and that was less than half the usual going rate, so I was really pleased with that. Another real oddity here, so you don't see these very often. So I collect the Collins Crime titles, Collins Crime Club, and this one is an export Collins Crime Club. See, it's got the list on there. If we delicately take a look, I have got one other like this, and that retail price in India. So it's an Indian export, and I do have, I said, another one in this format. It's not a crime one, it's a fiction one. It's really nice with the wavy cover. That was their design. And I've also got a services edition for India, but in more traditional Collins Crime Club livery. Very, very good. Yeah, look at that. Reprinted in India. It's just locally printed, not exported. 1946. Look at that. You rarely see these, and super nice to have a crime one as well. Yeah, but look at these. Look, some of the Agatha Christie's. Some good authors in there that I would imagine are quite scarce books. So yeah, very nice indeed. So I'll give these two, because the other bits obviously can't be cleaned. Just give that a gentle brush. It's got a bit of shadow. You can sort of see on the front jacket there, sort of a bit of shadowing there. The brush will probably take off a little bit of it. So that's really nice. I'm really pleased with that one for sure. And the tattooist book, yeah, super scarce. I'm happy to take it with that little 5p on the front. That's not the end of the world. It's absolutely fine. And I'll just give the McBain the dust off. Brilliant. So that was quite a nice little lot. Now, some of you know I've been picking up these DC 100 page super spectaculars. Absolutely love these big, thick DC comics. And I'm not looking for pristine, but I am looking for quite nice copies. And I picked up one this last month just gone. And a friend of mine in the States has actually found, well, he's got another 2 for me, which he said sent to his address. So, bit of a tatty old bag and board, that one. And I've got a brand new board and miler for to put this one back in, but I thought we'd have a little look at it first. So this is DC 18 up there. So it's in the 100 page series. I said it's not pristine by any means, but it's good enough for me. I see it's a little £1.20 on the back, and it's in pencil. So I'll see if I can just, I think it's in pencil, just see if I can lift that off. Some of these, unfortunately, like the Batman ones, for example, are quite expensive, and there's some with other, you know, beautiful Neil Adams wraparound jackets and things like this, covers. So I've managed to pick up the tougher ones from the States, where for the same money as you pay over here, you get a copy in much, much better condition. So that's what I've done. So I've got 2 in America waiting to come over from my friend Chris, who keeps me a little box of bits and pieces and sends it off stuff that I see on eBay USA that I can't, that I don't want to pay separate shipping for. So he gets them sent to his house and then sends them over en masse in one big box, and that's the cool way of doing it. So I didn't quite get all that pencil off, but I got enough of it off, in all honesty. So yeah, it's a Superman. And it's a mixture of, well, it is all classic reprints, this one. That was the whole point of the 100 pages. And these moved on from the DC 80 pages, which are you know, much more perhaps remembered. July 1973. And yeah, this has got a Superman story, a Golden Age Atom, modern sort of Silver Age Atom, a Superboy story, Dynamite, Arrowman, Captain Triumph. All classic stuff, you know, absolutely classic stuff. Okay, that one. And this is not a new book at all. This is one actually published last year. I don't know when this Murakami Sputnik Sweetheart was first published, but we'll have a little look. Now, these are published by Random House, or Vintage Books. And yeah, this was the first of the re-releases. First, the English translation was 2001. So basically what they've done, Vintage have released 3 last year and 3 this year of Murakami classics, and this is one of them, Sputnik Sweetheart. I'm actually in the middle of reading one at the moment, which is the Wind Up Bird Chronicle, but it's absolutely enormous. It's almost 700 pages, and I'm 3/4 of the way through, and it's absolutely fantastic. Really, really like this author. First time I've tried him. Wanted to try him for a long, long time, and well, these editions are particularly nice with the belly bands as well. So I was lucky enough to get this one off eBay, and it was a fresh printing, which is quite good. I'm not bothered about that. They're just really, really nicely designed editions to read. As you can see, they've been all reset, and they're fantastic. So this is going to be the next one once I've finished Wind Up Bird Chronicle. But yeah, as I said, there's 6 of those to get if you do fancy dipping your toe into Murakami. They're £20 each, brand new, but you can find them online for about 14 or 15 from a few online sellers. So recommended. Right, one other new book, but it was a new book that was just given to me by my friend Bob, and this one actually does have a couple of little marks. So what I was going to do, actually, because I bought this Murakami online, I was just going to give the top edge that brush there. It's not mint, but it's good enough for me, you know, a couple of little dings there. But I was speaking to my friend Steve, the Outlaw book seller, and of course he sells these brand new, those Murakamis, and he said they're notorious for just arriving straight from the publishers in quite beaten up condition because they knock around in the boxes and stuff. So yeah, this one was given to me by my friend Bob, and he really, really raves about it. And I've actually got, I'm going to have a sales video of some bits from Bob's stock, and there's a copy of this included in it, like a brand new one. But it's basically an encyclopedia, and what he says is that you could read a section on a particular author, for example, and it would give you other areas or other authors or books to try at the bottom, which is exactly what it does. And I think it's going to be quite a good little reference to have by your side when you're perhaps thinking of your next read, or if you've maybe read an author who's in an anthology, you think, well, that was pretty good, let's look him up and see where it might take you, you know. So if you're not that well versed in the SF universe, this might be quite a handy little guide. And I think these are Bob's got plenty of copies of these, so he'll be able to knock them out quite cheaply. So I'm not sure how much it's going to be, but I'll let you know. But we have got a copy for sale. But I was just gonna, so it's got a little mark on the cover there. So just gonna, yeah, that's come straight off there. And yeah, Bob really recommended this one, so I'm going to have it on my shelf. And I have a little dig through, but it says really good, and it's not that well known out there. Scholar Press, but it's actually really nicely produced hardback, and I think you might well want to invest in a copy of that one. Right, okie doke, that's cool. Next we've got this one, which is a huge Penguin box set, which once again it's a Penguin reference. And you don't see these very often, so I think I'll just pull the camera out a tad. Well, I can just about squeeze this one in. So what I think we'll do, I mean, the book's inside a mint, but you can see the box, which is not unusual. It's got a few little marks, and to be honest, even though this is a bit worn, this is better than most that turn up these 60s box sets. It was a craze that sort of started the mid-1960s, and well, I mean, certainly when I was growing up in the 70s, I would love to get a box set, and they sort of petered out towards the end of the 80s, really, didn't they? These sorts of sets. So yeah, it's very much a phenomenon of their time, but I like them. I've got a few vintage Penguin ones in my collection, not many, but a few. There's a few I'd definitely like to get. Some science fiction ones. There's a couple of John Wyndham ones I'd love to get hold of, but they are a little bit pricey, because in a lot of cases you're getting 6 or 7 books as well as the slipcase. But I'm keeping my eyes peeled, and I have got a little sort of retrospective on box sets coming up. I just need to take a little bit of planning, because I don't have stacks, but what I've got is pretty nice. So okay, well, that's the actual slipcase done. Let's get the books out. It's not the most thrilling subject. It is only a Penguin reference, but the books themselves are in, well, as you would expect, tip-top shape. They really, really are. I already had these out. That one's a first edition, and that's the first reprint. That one I actually already had in a first edition, but not in that beautiful shape. So what I'll probably do is get rid of my spare of that one. This one's got £3 inside, so not sure where this came from. But we'll get rid of that little £3. Yeah, the book is heavy. I mean, it looks virtually unread. Look at that nice perfect spine. I'm going to give it a polish in a minute. I'll just brush it off as well. But one of the things about box sets is that, generally speaking, and it's weird, but you might find one book that's maybe been read, and then the rest are untouched. And it's a way to get absolutely immaculate copies in your collection, but not always first printings or anything. It's the printing that was around. Sometimes box sets would be filled with books that they ended up printing too many of, so they were like surplus to requirements. They were like almost like a bind up, but in a box set. Other times they were printed because they were genuinely massive sellers, like, I don't know, a recent, say, Game of Thrones box set, for example, which I remember that was the last box set I knew that went ballistic with, was it the first 5 Game of Thrones novels. I mean, absolutely fantastic, that one. It made a great present for people looking to try it, and it was discounted as well, so you could usually get it at a decent price. Now I see this one here has got a tiny little mark on the top there, like something almost like a sticker, but it's not 100% sure what that is, but it's annoying the hell out of me. think it was a bit of a sticker, you know. Yeah, look at that, it's gone. Yeah. Well, it had £3 inside, didn't it, inside the other book, so maybe that's what this one was sold for at some point back in the day. The thing about old encyclopedias, it's a bit like old travel guides, which I also love, and I'd love to collect old travel guides if I just had the room. I've particularly become a bit of a fan of the AA guides from the 1930s and 40s because they're illustrated, and a lot of the places just don't exist anymore, like little hamlets and towns that have been swallowed up by bigger towns and been like absorbed, as it were. But the stuff that you could see, particularly in those AA, like Book of the Road and stuff, is really terrific, and I love them for that reason alone. And they're cheap to collect. They're like less than £10 each, which isn't bad at all, really. So that's that one, and we'll do the same with this. Just give it a cursory once over, because it's absolutely minters, really, isn't it? It's as good as you could hope to get. Just a shame it's a really boring old subject, but it's okay. The fiction ones are nice, and as I said, I do have some nice fiction ones, which we'll see in due course. But this does hark back from the early days of box sets, so I'm not complaining in the slightest. And it's the first time I've ever seen one, not even seen a picture of one before, so to actually find one in the flesh is brilliant, you know. And they're not bad condition at all. There's just a little bit of like surface wear. There we are. What a pair, eh? What a pair. Let's slide them back in. Okay, so we've got about another 100 paperbacks to get through, there or thereabouts, and that will be it for today. So we're going to go through these, give them a clean as we go along as well. And we have got a rather nice, funky run of the New Worlds. Now, these are the New Worlds that were in paperback formats. If we compare it to this Ed McBain, they're A format size, a tiny bit under that. And some of them have got glossy covers. Some of them, like these earlier ones, have got buff covers, so they can't be polished. All of them have got a host of fantastic stuff inside, and I haven't quite got all the paperback ones off Bob, but I got the majority of them, and they're published by a Compact, which is a publisher I'm trying to get all their science fiction output. So the paper is still quite pulpy on these early ones, a bit more like a digest than anything else. And these came from Dorset Bob. He had multiple copies of all of these because Bob's got a full run of New Worlds, and every single one. But I tried to pull out a few of each and pick the best one. So I have got a little pile of books that some can be polished and some can. But what we'll do, we'll pull out a little wedge, like a pile, get them brushed, and then I'll sort them into polishing and not polishing ones. Yeah, lots of good stuff in here. Edited by Michael Moorcock. Life Buyer. So this has got a slightly glossier cover here, EC Tub. And this is one of those ones, so some of the collection, because I had some science fantasy off the same dealer. Some of the collection have got nicotine staining on the spine, but we know we can lighten that up, so I'm not overly worried about that. But these have got some good stuff in here. A lot of them have got Keith Roberts jackets. I'm not sure if that's a Keith Roberts. It looks like his style, but it's not signed, so not sure on that one. But he did do some jackets for New Worlds, as well as being in all through, of course. 154. In a lot of cases, I wouldn't say these were file copies, but they were from collections that were very, very well looked after, shall we say, which is what we want. So as I said, I'm not expecting too much work on these because I was able to go through and pull what I believe to be the best looking copies that Bob had available at the time. So they won't all be perfect by any means, but they were the best ones that Bob had, so I can't really complain. So I'm not going to. See, something like that. It's got a little, you know, it's got the pen on there and that, but I don't really care. It's a nice early Harry Harrison. I'll be okay with that, you know. J.D. Ballard's in some of these. Here we are, like the assassination of JFK. Just a short essay more than anything. This one's actually got a Ballard cover. So there's some New Worlds which, like I think New Worlds had the second ever published writing by Terry Pratchett. I think he's in a Galaxy as well, but that one's not here. This one isn't bad. It's got a little fag burn on the front, but it's a nice early Ballard. Yeah, gets the cover there. A little pencil mark inside. Let's get my rubber. Oh, that's £6 in it. I certainly didn't pay that for it. I think Bob let me have these all between like £2 and £3 each, there or thereabouts, you know, about £3 each. I said he's got lots of multiple copies of these, so if you are after any, he hasn't got them all, but he's got most, so you would be able to pick some up if you want to. It's really nice and tight. Obviously the way to get them is as mint as possible. See, there's a Keith Roberts. That's quite distinctive in it, his style there for the garbage world. It's also got a little price inside, £4 or something. Very light, thankfully. Let's make sure I catch these. Yeah, that didn't have anything inside. Nice, another Ballard again, The Day of Forever. Very, very faint price. I couldn't really see. I think it was about £6 on that one. He had SF Reprise. This is a reprint title, but I don't mind because it is quite funky. It's a pretty nice copy. I can't imagine these turn up in great condition, you know. I haven't quite got all 6, I think there is, but I've got a fair few of them. And this is nice, got the insert there as well, you know. Can't complain at that. You really can't, you know. Another Harrison here, Bill the Galactic Hero. I'm guessing that's the first appearance of it. Yeah, also Deathworld. I read Deathworld on my holiday recently. Oh, I really enjoyed it. I couldn't put it down. I literally couldn't put it down. And I know that there's Deathworld 2 and 3 to come, so I'm really looking forward to those. But I almost want to save them, you know, because I enjoyed the first one so much. But they're quite quick reads, you know, so. What I meant to do. Cool. I think what we'll do there, I'm just going to give these the brush. Try and put them into these are slightly shorter size piles. So we'll do these 3. As expected, not a lot coming off these dust-wise because they've been stored very well by a dealer. Some of them, as you can see, were bagged, so I wasn't expecting them to be in too bad shape at all. But I like to give all my books, when they come into my collection, a bit of a brush. And then all I need to do occasionally is hoover my shelves to try and keep the dust off them as best I can. But I pull my books out so often for various things that they don't get too dusty, in all honesty. They do get moved around a bit. So what I'm going to do now is just, some of them can be polished, some of them can't. So these have got buff covers, so I'm going to put them in a separate pile over there. But the ones that can have a little bit of a wipe over are going to go in a pile over here. So I think all of these are in that group, yeah. Don't they look fantastic, these? They really, really do. They're great. So they're all going to be able to be polished in a minute, but this other pile, no. Okay, so we've got more New Worlds and compact SF. This is a particularly nice one, that. I mean, it's Michael Moorcock. Behold the Man. It's not one I've ever read, but it's got a Keith Roberts jacket on it. This is pretty tasty, and it's one I shall be giving a try, that's for certain. Yeah, it's like the main thing in that one. It's 55 pages. So give that a go. I'm sure that all this Moorcock stuff has been collected at some point. Another one with a Keith Roberts jacket. Stormbird, Storm Dreamer, Ballard. And I wonder if they tried to make these, you know, paperback format to appeal to the SF paperback market rather than the traditional digest crowd. I wonder, you know. But New World's had so many different formats over the years, and just after this sort of paperback format, they go back to magazine again, you know. So to get the whole run, which would be fantastic, I got to say, and I've been half tempted to try and get them, but some of the early ones are tough in nice shape, and I just don't like the quality of those early digests. They just they just make my skin crawl. There's just something about them, you know. It's a really nice one, isn't it? Yeah, Steve is the Man. He's got all the stories about Cyril Bonfiglioli. Yeah, Steve knows this period of SF, the Outlaw books there, Steve the Outlaw books there, so well, and you can learn a lot from watching his videos. I know he's got some stuff on Keith Roberts coming up. This is a great one here, and another one with the slightly earlier ones with the buff covers, the same as this one here. In fact, this has got it's got a little bit of cover luster, so that'll probably be okay to give a little polish to. And a later one here, 151. Cool, so they're all groovy. Actually, a non-New World, so Panther SF. I think this was from Morris's £1 shop again, so it's got a few spine creases and stuff, but bought solely for the reading, not for anything else really. It'll go in the collection because it's not too bad at all, but it has got a few spine creases, so you wouldn't call it a collector's copy, but you would call it an eminently readable one. That's what I'm going to call that. Here's an odd pound one. It's post ISBN. It says ISBN period, and once again I couldn't really remember if I've got it. He's a little low grade on reflection, you know, but I might have reconsidered picking this one up on reflection, but it has got a W. Francis Phillips. The cover looks a bit like the Matrix, in actual fact, the little baby from the Matrix. I don't know, but I'll give it a clean up, and I think it'll be absolutely fine to read. Is it all by Douglas Hill, or did he just edit it? Yeah, it is different authors. Look, so it is an SF anthology, that one. A few more New Worlds here. New Worlds, like readership survey. That's cool, isn't it? Very nice. I love that sort of stuff in old pulps and mags. It's all good. Amen and out. Okay. Yeah, Keith Roberts did loads of this artwork. I didn't realise he was quite as a prolific artist as he evidently seems to be, you know, or seems to have been. That's cool. Look at that one there. What a great jacket that is, isn't it? Thomas Dish. Echo round his bones. A nice copy of that. Yeah, very, very nice indeed. Whack the camera there, but there we are. Yeah, that's super cool. I think we'll just give these a brush again. A few dusty tomes there. Cool. So let's sort out the ones that can be polished. That one cannot. It was just the other early one. Slip them back in the pile. More SF Reprise. Okay. Definitely tough to find these in nice shape. These are real sort of collector's ones in my book. It's another earlier one there. Matte cover. So I did get a really nice run of these. And that one actually has a little tiny bop of the spine there. So let's just grab that. Get some Pritt stick on the bottom of that one. There we are. Slide it in and get rid of the excess. Hopefully stop that one getting any worse. Number 150, New Worlds 150. Look at that. 150 British contributors. Dear, oh dear, look at the state of them. That is brilliant, isn't it? That's awesome. Very, very nice. This is one I picked up at Morris's in his main warehouse. It's one I'd not seen this jacket on, but it appears to be the first printing, published by Tor in the States, where Atlantis died. Got a couple of little creases on it, but I don't mind with this. Yeah, first print in September '83. That's got a spine crease there, but still, I think that's probably quite scarce, that one. This one I was really, really pleased to get. It's one of his very earliest books indeed. A Bantam. great jacket. The Bantam SF, including their Star Trek books from this period, is actually, I think, underrated. Really underrated. So yeah, Bantam edition, July 68. There we are. Planet of the Damned. Not A1, but not too bad. I'm going to be pleased to have it, to be honest. Yeah, January 62. So all he'd had published prior to this was Death World. So quite an early one again, but pleased to get it. Another SF reprise, number 2 here. A bit of cover warping, but still not a bad copy. Not a bad copy, that one. So scarce. This is good as well. Best in New Worlds. Pleased with this. But that's a good read as well, and not a bad copy. All things considered, you know. That's what they considered the best of New Worlds at that point. And there's definitely some excellent stuff in there. Now back to some more Penguin stuff. So we got Tibetan Marches, another one of the games covers. As I said, I picked up a nice haul of these. Oh, look at that. Would you believe it? Actually had another Penguin bookmark in. 99p in there. Yeah, nice Games Illustrated cover there. I see this one's also got a little mark on the inside. Not a mark, but a owner's signature in pencil. So they will be forgiven for writing it in pencil. Not forgiven for putting it in such an awkward place. I am harsh, aren't I? Blimey. Well, that took it slightly more work than I was thinking, but it's a nice overall copy of, you know, these scarce books. And well, this was a little bonus. I have actually got this one. I've had it a couple of times, but even so, that was just a bonus. They do turn up. That's the thing. These sorts of things do turn up in old books. It's brilliant. I just wish I've only got one original Pan horror one. And there's 3, and I'd like to get the other 2, but they don't seem to turn up very often. I think this is probably the first time I've seen this one. It's a reprint of Penguin number 379, Death of a Ghost. So a scarce book in its own right, but this reprint is particularly scarce with the game's cover. Maybe it just didn't sell so well at the time because it was a reprint, whereas a lot of the books were the first time they were in Penguin form. So a lot of the game's covers are new books in Penguin, whereas this was evidently a book that had been out for 10 years. So it may not have had such appeal, which maybe this is why it's the first time I've ever actually set eyes on it, you know, possibly. This is a great book, the original Great Escape, Paul Brickell, and I love the cover. It's Abraham Games again. Really great design. I have got it, but I can't remember quite how good my copy is, and this was a nice copy again that I just didn't want to leave behind really, so I picked him up. Yeah, I'm hoping in time I get to my wants lists and I update them, I'm going to be virtually there on the games covers. This is one I don't think I've got, Fifth Planet, another Penguin science fiction. And I can't be that far off having virtually all of them now. certainly pre-1970. There's definitely stuff after that I haven't got, but pre-1970 I can't be that far off having it all. So there is a particularly good Penguin website to Penguin Science Fiction, which I recommend. I can't think of the exact address off the top of my head, but it's just superb, and they've got every book with all the different jackets on. So at Day of the Triffids you can go there and see about 30 different covers on it, you know. This is alright, although I realise now that it's been laminated, which isn't the end of the world, because it has done quite a good job of protecting the book. But yeah, unfortunately you will get the odd staining going on. But I think it was from Morris's £1 shop, so not too bad. It's an original. Another one here, Final Curtain. I couldn't remember if I needed this one or not. Not in the greatest of shape, but it is what it is. Yeah, 1958. This is another one which, you know, it's borderline. I don't know which one's better than mine, so I'm going to pull them all out when I get to file these away fairly soon, and hopefully this weekend, and I'll do a bit of a comparison, so I'll be able to sort out my spares, because I've got a couple of friends who are collecting the games covers, and I promised them to them first. So and this is another great one, The Prevalence of Witches. Really like interesting jacket on it, you know, Abraham Games again. So yeah, pleased to get this. 35p, October 1999. Okay. I think before we go any further, we better have another little brush. These are in slightly varying conditions, but some will be better than others. There we are. Now, most of these can be done. There's a couple that couldn't. There we are. What a messy old job this is. This one, on reflection, I'm certain I've got it. It's one of those Belmont ones, and I only had these out the other day. I'm absolutely certain I've got this one, but it's a pretty nice copy. A little bit tanned, but it's not bad. I'll double check it against what I've got, but else I'll have a little spare of that. It's a really nice copy of that. I'm sure mine isn't that good, so that was all right. Another door I was after, that was cool. Glad to be starting to fill in some of my door gaps now. Both Bob and Morris have got loads of them, so it's really just a case of getting off my ass and sorting them out. Another little anthology from George. This is from Morris's £1, so it's Panther SF. They sure did some good SF, old Panther, didn't they? Another one. This is a double. I have got it, but it's Penguin Science Fiction. I don't like to leave that behind when I come across it, which isn't that often, and I think it's all collected in its own right now, Penguin SF. So I like to pick that up when it comes my way, if I can. Another anthology here, Tandem, British publisher. And some of these probably won't make it into my collection. They'll just be, I'll read them and then just trade them on. Nice and cheap, as you know I do. This is Paul Anderson. Don't really want to leave this behind. It's a nice ace. A little bit tanned, but it's all right. This one, once again on reflection, I think I've probably got it, so I think I've doubled up on this, but yeah, it doesn't matter. Actually, I see it's quite this is quite badly water soaked in actual fact. So there we are, picking this up in the heat of the moment and the rush of the shop. That one's actually not in the greatest shape, but I'm pretty sure I've got him anyway. So it was only £1, so I'll knock it on to someone else for £1 if they want to read it. A bit more Panther SF here. Yeah. Best of Fantasy and Science Fiction. 15th series, wow. Yeah, wow. More Penguin Science Fiction. Lambada. Pretty sure I've got this one. But once again, I wasn't going to leave it behind. Yeah, that's all right. Back to the Penguin handbooks. Of which I'm looking forward to updating my collection of those in a massive way, you know. I think the numbering just about, I'm trying to think pre-1970 what the numbering goes up to. It's probably about 140, something like that. I must be over halfway now. I'd be amazed if I wasn't, you know. Here's a fairly early American Penguin. On reflection, a bit of a beaten up old copy in all honesty, but you don't see them very often in the UK, so I didn't want to leave it behind. And I knew it was one that I didn't have. The later ones in traditional A format are much more common, but these ones here in the smaller, like pocket books format, like Corgis, not so common anymore. And I think out of all of them, they would be the ones I'd most like to get my hands on. This was nice. This is a Penguin catalogue. I have got this one, but I think mine's got over there, it's got like a bookshop stamp on. So this will be an upgrade to the one that I've got. Absolutely beautiful, these catalogues. Really, really nice. I love them. But I think the one that I've got is slightly more worn. You know, it's been used, as it were. There we are. So we'll have a spare of that one. And Penguin's Progress, I still need an odd one, I think, to complete the set. But I don't like to leave them behind. It's a bit like Pan Records, which you don't often come across. So when you see these things, they're getting scarcer, not more common. So always worth picking them up. Good food on a budget. Look at that, 1p. Didn't see many of them around. This is a pretty big, thick one. It looks like it's a big turned over page there. These Penguin handbooks, which are actually cookbooks, are scarce. I just putting it out there, particularly the early cookbooks. The first one is actually published during the war. It's a Penguin special. It's called the Wartime Good Housekeeping Cookery Book, and it's like Penguin Special number 101 or something like that. Mega rare, mega rare. That's a 50 quid book, in my opinion, in nice condition. Probably the most expensive Penguin special that there is. Just letting you know, if you ever see it, which is rare. It's the one that, in actual fact, there is one which I think is scarcer because it's virtually a pamphlet. And it was the last one I needed, and it's called the Economic Development of India or something like that. That's mega rare. I think it's contestant for the thinnest vintage Penguin as well. Big old thick book. This is going to eat up the old bookcases, isn't it? Travel in Europe, Penguin Handbook 116. Wow-wee is what I say. Tree and Fruit Growing. These are reissues of the old ones that came out in the 40s by the same author. This one's got a Bernardo sticker in. Let's see if I can tease that a little. Dr. Bernardo's charity shop. Oh, that's not coming off very well. Why would you put a sticker inside a book? Core blimey. It's coming, but it's not coming very well, I'm afraid to say. I think it's going to cause a bit of rippage. Yeah, it's going to leave a bit of a mark, I'm afraid to say. It's the price you pay sometimes for buying a book in a charity shop. You sometimes have to put up with the odd mark inside, but to be honest, it's not that bad. I think it's better without the sticker, in my humble opinion. There we are, I think we got it. Still not quite got this last bit off. There we are. God, what a mess. How dare it. There we are, all for Tree and Fruit Growing, eh? But that's better. Better without the sticker. Oh, another odd door. Great jacket, that one, isn't it? Yeah, once again, a little bit the worse for wear, but one that I needed. And I didn't mind forking out a pattern for that, but he is a bit worn, to be honest. I need to take more care in Morris's £1 shop. But there is good stuff in there. It's not all low grade. But a lot of my doors are not perfect condition by any means, so I don't mind taking that one. But he is a little bit borderline. Lovely. That's for you, sadly. What's that there? What's that foreign body? Bit of scrap paper someone's used as a bookmark. How dare they? Oh, another one here. Oh, and there's a letter. Oh, could be a little bit of scandal in there. Let's just check the rest of the book. Oh, let's have a look. Ah, it's a recipe. Would you believe it? Inside a cookery book. I was hoping for something really good, you know, but it's not. It's a recipe. Look at that. To make a gâteau ganache. I was hoping for some sort of scandalous letter. That would have been super cool, wouldn't it? How to cook and eat in Chinese. Wow. Oh, I love a Chinese, you know. I love a Chinese. Absolutely gorgeous food. Herbs and spices. Oh. Another note of some description. What will we find in it? Got a sticker on the cover which it looks as if someone's tried to take off already. Well, I got some of it off. So it's been, as you can see, quite a momentous couple of months, and this is best part of 2 months that you're seeing here that's come through my hands. I just haven't had a chance to do a pickups video in the last few weeks. It's just had too much going on. There's an awful lot going on in October. I got some really exciting stuff to share with you, but I can't reveal it yet, unfortunately, but I will be soon. And I will mention here now, if anyone's going to the Comic-Con at the end of October, I will be there. It's at the Excel in London, and I will be there, and I will be filming, and if you are there and you spot me, do come up and say hello. What's this? With the compliments of Golden and Curry Limited, High Street, Tunbridge Wells. And what's this here? Recipes again. What are they like, eh? Right, okay, let's give this last little batch a brush, and then we can get them polished. what a mess we're making. Cool. Right, let's get this last lot sorted and polished. Right, let the spraying commence. And I've sorted out all the books that are going to need a bit of a polish today. Some will, of course, come up better than others. But I like to put them all through the process, so that they're looking as good as possible before they end up in my main collection. It's a chance to give them one last sort of going over, really, before they do get filed away. I'll put into my to be read pile, like a lot of these anthologies will be. I've got a sort of a separate place for some of my anthologies now, so I can get to them quite easily when the mood takes me. Actually got a bit of an awful sticker on the back, so I'm going to give it a bit of targeted squirt there, and we'll put that one to one side and let it soak in a bit. This one was a bit of a rough copy. see how this one's getting on. Pretty good, look at that. Excellent. Let that dry out a bit now. Yeah, did a good job on that. That went out really nicely. Cordon bleu, eh? So, well, what an epic episode, really. You know, I hope you've enjoyed seeing all these new pickups that I've got. I mean, absolutely phenomenal. It's going to take me a good hour or two to get them all catalogued onto the computer, probably longer than that even. And even more so to go to the collection and compare copies against what I've already got, which is always a fun thing to do. I absolutely love upgrading and then, you know, moving on my spares to the to other collectors. It's just great. I love it. Always good fun. Now, the good news is I'm going back to Morris's in just a few weeks' time. In fact, by the time you see this video, it'll be like literally a few days. I'm going back up, and this time I'll be with my friend Steve, the outlaw bookseller, who had COVID, sadly, when I last went up, so I had to fly solo. But he's thankfully A1 again, and he needs a little treat since he's had such a rough time of it. Bloody COVID. So look out for that trip, plus yet another pickups video in, you know, about a month's time. Now, as I said, I am going to be heading to Comic-Con, the London Comic Convention at the XL. It's at the end of the month. I'm going to be there on the Saturday with my son Sam, and we're going to be filming the event. And I am very much looking forward to it. It's going to be huge. I'll hopefully I'm going to be looking for some good stuff to buy, and you never know at such a huge show what you're going to come across. So keep an eye on the channel, because that is going to take up most of the week. It's going to be leading up to the event, and I'm going to try and do some little YouTube shorts from the event, which I think will be quite cool as well. And send me messages on the day, and we might be able to like act on what people are seeing. It should be really, really cool. So yeah, look out for that at the end of this month. It is going to be pretty cool. Dear, oh dear. So, all we can do is the best that we can, and we do a good job, so. Because as soon as I've done this, sadly, I've got to do some gardening, because it may be the last chance I get to do a proper trim of the garden before the year is out. So there's lots of weeds grown up by the studio here in the back garden, and it was getting so bad I was, you know, literally swinging through the vines just to get to the studio. So that is not good. So while the weather has been quite dry the last few days, and it's about midday as we film this, so it's as warm as it's going to get and dry as it's going to get. I need to spend a few hours in the garden, so wish me luck, because it's a big old task, but it's okay, and it's also good exercise. Maybe I could borrow some of my penguin handbooks. I'm only kidding. Funny how the glue has like warped these books a little bit over the years. Making a huge difference on some of these, I tell you. Even though they're nice, like mint copies, they've got a lot of, well, 6 or 7 decades of just shelf wear. Now look at this. This is an example of one which is really nicotined. So we're going to find a nice fresh bit of cloth. And look at this, look. So that's been on someone's shelf, obviously a heavy smoker, and it's stained the whiteness of this book, so this will help it a little bit. But when you have a look at what comes off, look at that, the cigarette nicotine, that. Incredible, isn't it? Absolutely incredible. That's about as good as we're going to get that. Still a nice copy. You know what I mean? Now the other hot news, and I'm sure you're aware of this now, but the date has been announced for the next London Paperback Show. It's at the same location at the Bloomsbury Holiday Inn in Coram Road, or Coram Street, I think it is. You can find it online. It's the Bloomsbury Book Fairs, organised by Etc. Books, and it's on March the 24th. I will definitely be there. Steve, the Outlook Bookstore, will definitely be there, and we certainly hope to see as many of you as possible. So put a little date in your diary now. March the 24th, 2024. No excuses, please. It is 1 week after the LA Paperback Show, which laughably I thought, might see if I could get out there, but it ain't going to happen 1 week before the British show. It's just, I can't fit that in. I am still working after all, so, it ain't going to happen. But there you go. So, certainly hope to see as many of you there as I possibly can. There we are. So that's a really nice, good wedge. Oh dear. let us carry on. Still got a few to get through. Find a clean bit of cloth. This is going to need zapping after today's session. That's for certain.
Getting through these okay.
last little wedge now to give a polish to. It's been a real long video, and if you stayed with it all the way through, well done to you. If you've watched it in parts, that's probably how most people will watch this, I would imagine, as a multi-part video masterpiece. I don't know about masterpiece, but certainly some good stuff to be seen today. That is for certain. Little stain at the bottom of this one. So one thing that is on the horizon, and I did mean to at least mention it, is the channel is very fast approaching 25,000 subscribers, which is an absolutely astounding number. I got to say, I'm absolutely bowled over by that. And I'm planning to do like a Q&A, so like an Ask Me Anything to camera video, where people send in any questions they might want to ask me about collecting or my life or whatever, really, you know. So if this is something you've got a burning question, you can start sending questions in. You can just put them in the comments of the videos, and I'll do my best to answer them in that up and coming video. I'm going to start compiling them now, since you never know, that might very, very soon creep up on me with the added exposure of the Comic-Con video, I would imagine, so that'll catering to a bit of a different market to what I usually do, in a funny sort of way, but of interest to hopefully everyone, even on these book cleaning videos, and it will probably result in quite a few people heading my way, and the channel might quickly go over 25,000 without blinking, and I don't want to miss the anniversary without at least celebrating it with a video. So I'm going to start entertaining questions as soon as you're ready, really, and you can start sending them through, so keep a little eye out for that. This is one of the best SF hauls I've had in about a year. Absolutely phenomenal amounts of stuff, and I do class myself as very lucky to be able to get so many in just a couple of hits, absolutely brilliant. My old cloth is certainly the worst for wear. I'm going to put this one through the wash this afternoon. We've got just enough clean cloth left to do the rest of these. Just about. The other really good thing that's been happening lately is I've been going swimming on a twice weekly basis now, and I've been slowly building up my fitness back to where I used to be with my swimming. And I'm now up to swimming 1 kilometre a visit, which is pretty cool. I've been really feeling the benefits of that, so I'm sure you'll all be very happy for me. But I do a job generally that's a lot of sitting down, which is not great during the day, and we must all keep as active as possible, so I'm really pleased that I'm back in the zone with my swimming. So I've only been doing it for 6 weeks, but it's been really enjoyable, and hopefully I'll start to see I mean, I'm already feeling the difference, to be honest, but hopefully you'll be able to see the difference in another sort of 6 weeks or so. But yeah, I hope you've enjoyed watching this lot today. It's certainly been an epic, that is for certain. If you have, of course, the usual, hit the thumbs up. Please hit the subscribe button if you've not already. You know the routine. Let's see just how quickly we can get to 25,000. Don't forget all the new books that have just been published. If you're looking to add something to a Christmas shopping list or gifts for people to get to you, I recommend all the books that I've shown today. The new books, that is. I said I've got a sales video coming up in a couple of weeks' time, if I can squeeze it in before Comic-Con. If not, it'll be just afterwards. But some mint pan stock, some mint badger stock, file stock from Dorset Bob. Stuff that will be very, very tempting, I'm sure. My Patreon and channel members will get first dig, so if you're not already supporting us on Patreon or on YouTube channel memberships, it might be an incentive to do it, because you get to see all the books that I've got for sale before the videos go out to onto the channel for the general public, as it were. So all my supporters get first bite of the apple. Which is only fair, as a thank you for supporting me. And of course they get to see videos like this a week early. And thank you to all my supporters for, of which there are many, for helping me through. Just about got a little bit of clean cloth left. I think this is probably the most expansive cleaning session I think I've ever done. I'm sure you didn't mind. Yeah, thanks for watching today, or over many days I suspect, because it's such a long video, and I shall look forward to seeing you again very soon with another slice of vintage paperback action. Bye.